association with Leith Spirits. Manneh.
Hello, I'm Colin.
Colin, I think this is, I think I looked at another episode number 315 tonight. I might,
hmm
I might got that wrong. I checked it before we come on because I thought I'll remember and say it because I can't remember well into the 300s. And obviously, this is the last one of the league season.
hmm
Um, we've got like a title winning match to talk about briefly today. We've got the final game of the season to talk about, which happened yesterday, a 2-2 draw with as the Forces of Darkness, or Rangers as they're sometimes known. Um, there was obviously VAR controversy again, which has been great fun, especially if you can kind of crudely draw lines on photos and then post them on Twitter.
Did you do that yourself?
I
Was it
just
actually your line?
if you see if you go on your iPhone, there's a and you go to edit, there's a button that says ruler. And I was like, I just pressed that and it came up on the screen and just thought, fuck it, that'll do. And I just put that on and then shared it. It was like, there's obviously no in the goal, and it fucking triggered them something chronic. It's kept me amused for most of yesterday. I was right, it's episode 315. So aye, it's been all systems go. And obviously, a fucking lovely day at Easter Road yesterday. The place looked absolutely splendid, Colin, didn't it? I mean, it was
Aye.
everybody decked out in green.
I love it that I take this time of the year games. I got kicked out there. I don't know. Did you?
I know, I noticed. I just
Well,
I carried on.
aye. The and I know summer football kind of you go down the route you go and you're off sync with the major leagues and all that, but it'll be better like going to the game in your shorts and t-shirt.
Aye,
It's
it
like
was
that when you get
tremendous.
a good day in August and September, and then it comes
Mm.
to October, and before you know it, it's fucking dark when you're leaving the house, and dark when it's freezing, wrapped up. You know what I mean? It's like,
Aye,
would you not rather do it like I don't know, February through November? It finishes at and then when the clock's just either side of the clock's changing.
aye, that would work for me.
But
Um,
it doesn't. But then you get better runs in Europe because that's what the excuse they give to the Irish teams that get out of the group stages or the
hmm,
kind of teams that bypass out of the early stages of the qualifiers. Well, they're further ahead of us in the season. Well, let's fucking match it then.
aye, I'm all for it. I'm a big fan of the idea of summer football. Plus, you'd get a bigger TV audience because there's fuck all else on.
Aye.
Do you like the other big
Because
leagues?
Irish
Leagues
football
have
gets
shut down.
prominence.
Aye,
Well, that gets prominence on Sky Sports. I'm not talking it down. I know folk that like it. Like there's we guys we know, but my brother-in-law's got mates that they follow Shamrock Rovers and all that, and and they talk it. They say it's a reasonable standard and stuff. And I doubt to talk it down because I get annoyed when folk do it to our league. But I guess
yeah,
a lot of prominence on Sky Sports because there's fuck all else to show.
aye. There's no competition for it. Right, but before we go into that, Easter did look fantastic yesterday. But before we go into that, we need to dedicate a little bit of time, I think, to congratulate the Hibs women team who went to Mordor today, needing a draw. Actually got a win, a 1-0 win
Yeah.
to pick up the league title. So Grant Scott and his team, I think it's the first time in 18 years that they've got the league title. Huge
It's
achievement, Colin, and brilliant for the club as well.
it's massive, and because that's they've got as you say European football. If they'd lost today, they would have finished third.
Wow.
So they would have been out the European spaces. That's how tight it was, but they've ended up comfortably winning it. So massive European space. It's good. It's good in a way. Glasgow City got the other one. I mean, Glasgow City's a sort of traditional rival anyway, but in the women's game. But the Rangers and Celtic, what to get there, they just get even more money to add to the
Yeah.
bigger budget they've already got. So it's good that we've kind of carving some out for ourselves. Maybe answer some of the questions. I know there's a lot of folk why we spending any money, and I don't think it's fucking fortunes by any means that
Yeah.
we spend on the women's team. Um, why we spending money on it at all? Well, they're hopefully closer to being self-sustainable with bringing in prize money like that and prizes like that. So, but take that away, aye, go there and win. I mean, they were the team that hammered us in the cup final just
Yeah.
a couple of months ago. We've beat them a few times in the league, though. I don't
Yeah.
think they beat us in the league this season.
They
If they
haven't.
have,
We've won all the games in the league against them.
aye. So our record in the head-to-heads, and that's the thing. We could have lost it in goal difference today. And I was talking about that yesterday. I was like, and it sounds like the self-interest thing, but actually in the women's game, there's such a gulf between the top 4, 5 teams And everybody else, that you see the goal difference. It's like Rangers and Glasgow City were plus 100 and something, and we
Yeah,
might have missed it because we were only plus 80 odds. You know what I mean? You're like fucking scudding teams apart from each other,
yeah,
which are normal football games, closer games, 1-0s and stuff like that. Um, so it would actually be better doing head to head. Would be a better option in
yeah.
the women's in the Scottish game anyway. Like to say the head to head, because we would have come out in the head to head today because we've got better record against those teams. But that might not happen the next time. But it just feels fairer because it just depends if you take fucking 19 goals off of Arbroath or
Or
of
12.
only 14. Aye, you know
Aye,
what I mean? It's like
yeah,
and that's no good. That's not a good, a good place to be. So aye, anyway, but what a thing to win the league because it's a long time since they won the league.
aye.
Um, I mean, I've seen the league table for the last time they won it. There's teams in it you've never heard of. Celtic and Rangers weren't even in it. They were Hearts. Like, they weren't even
That's mad, eh?
part of the league. It's like Arsenal North, who I think might have turned into Celtic. That was like there. Do you remember when we were boys and you had, I think there was a Dyna and all that, but then
Aye,
Celtic East got created. And then they sort of stole all the best players for Port of Thistle and the
aye,
Dyna and created Celtic East. It's like, that's what like Arsenal North must have been, I think. Um, but aye, brilliant for them to win it.
aye.
Aye, so uh,
To give you an idea of the scale of it, somebody, it was Ian, I think, on one of the WhatsApp chats that I'm in, had made the point earlier that Rangers are cutting their budget for the women's team next season by the same amount that is Hibs' total budget for the women's team.
is that right?
Aye, so it's just to
Uh,
give you an idea of how big an achievement it is for the women's team to go and win the league, especially at Ibrox today.
mhm.
That's the kind of financial gulf between the teams and how much
Yeah.
Rangers and Celtic are spending on their women's team to try and compete. So yeah, huge congratulations. It's brilliant. And then you'll seen the scenes yesterday, like at halftime, obviously the under 18s won their league. It was brilliant. Collins did a lap on her and they get to the Rangers fans and they just bammed them up. I mean, they're dancing about in front of them.
Aye,
Rangers fans are fucking chucking things at them and everything. It was superb.
that is amazing.
Whoever's idea that was in under 18s, get them a new contract because
Mm.
aye, it was tremendous. Right, we'll get a couple of comments off of YouTube. Chris said, "Evening lads, what a weekend to be a high B." Dan says, "Evening all." Green Tea said, "Evening guys, great result for the ladies today." It was indeed. Steve said, "Evening Matty and Colin, hope you're well. Decent game versus Sevco yesterday. The Hibs women done us proud today. 3 months without football coming up as a form of torture. It's cutting it. I'm absolutely devastated that this season has come to an end."
Mm.
David Granio said, "Hi guys, what a season, eh?" Chris said, "By the way, do the mutants no realise that Bashiri is in the goal because Raskin threw him into it?" We'll come on to that in a wee bit, but see if you mentioned that, they try to claim that they should have had a penalty. It's fucking
I
wild,
know, but
the
that's what they
takes
do.
on it. Aye.
It's what about it,
Um,
isn't it? It's just what they do.
John said, "Evening, everyone. What an end to a crazy season. All Hibs teams having great success. And another thing, conspiracy," for the big laughing emoji. Davey says, "All for summer football and a bigger league." Ron said, "Evening, guys." Chris said, "Some laugh watching the knuckle draggers get so triggered by under 18s. It was superb."
They
Davey
just
said,
hate everything, though, don't they? They're
"Oh, they
just
do."
they're just full of hate. Yeah.
And I mean, I suppose like it's probably no bad time to mention we had the tribute to absent friends at the start, where the teams were warming up, and then as the teams came out and they gathered around the centre circle, the referee blew the whistle for a minute's applause in memory of Sir Tom Farmer, and of course, as was expected, really, like I don't think it came as a surprise to anybody. The Rangers fans started singing their sectarian songs over the top of it, and you just
No,
think,
it's no surprise. But the thing is, you're totally right. It was just everybody knew that it would
aye,
happen because um, if people were saying maybe we shouldn't do it, and you're like, why should we fucking know?
mm,
Like,
of course we
you know
should do it,
what
yeah,
annoys me? What annoys me about it is if you watch Sports Scene, they don't even give you an indication of that. They don't mention it. It's like this fucking silence that the
aye,
media give. That if that remember somebody stuck a sticker on a seat at Ibrox.
aye,
Remember the outrage?
yeah.
Aye. But where's that? Is that much
I,
worse?
they were chasing that. Who did they play last week? Was it Aberdeen or Dundee United? Aberdeen. I think it
Hmm.
was an Aberdeen or a Dundee United fan was. It is abhorrent. And you can't. It's
Hmm.
not like one's all right and one isn't. I think if you condemn this sort of behaviour, you have to condemn it all. You can't just pretend
Yeah.
one side is all right. There's no like an acceptable side of sectarianism, and um, but they're going after a boy who was mocking the Ibrox disaster, and that is abhorrent.
Yep.
One person it was though. they were making a big song and dance about it. This is like folk that are just kind of like a whole half a stand full of people doing it.
Yeah.
And it's consistent. It's every week with them. I hope Hibs, because the reason Rangers had their allocation cut was because of this type of behaviour when they did it with Ron Gordon's memorial, and I hope Hibs cut it again. Like I really
Mhm.
do hope they just go, well, we're not having it, and keep cutting it until you learn how to behave.
Mhm.
Um, that would do it for me. Um, Davies said the Hibs women team are good and play good football. I've been to see them a few times a season over the last 10 years. The thing I like is the year-on-year improvement of the standard of the football. I think that's like I'll have to profess to no being an expert on the women's game, but what I can see for definite is that it's come on leaps and bounds
It's a
as
real
the years
pity,
have
right?
come on.
Like, and I don't know how much we mentioned it, but we tried to do something with the women's team this year.
Mhm.
And they were a wee bit like lacked a wee bit of engagement for them, to be quite honest. And it would have been a great season to be doing it. Eh?
Aye, it would have been brilliant. So what our idea was to pretty much follow them for the season and have somebody come on, promote the
Yeah,
games.
weekly
Aye,
program. Yep.
do a review, a review and a preview of all the
Mhm.
games. And I mean, not for stands. If we want to do it for next season, we would love to do it. I
Mhm.
mean, we did try, we followed up, but kind of hit a wall with it. But yeah, I think the improvement, the women's game in general is improving. You saw the FA Cup final on BBC today, and it's like a full stadium,
Wembley
and
as
it
well.
seems
Eh?
to be yeah, they get big crowds down in England, and
Everton's given their old
aye,
stadium to the women's team, which is
that's a brilliant thing to
ridiculous.
do. Eh?
It is, but I mean, like, wonder what happened there, eh? Like, there must be a reason. Like, they must have been going to sell that and get money on the land. There must be a problem. Like, there must be a
You
plan of
reckon?
commission
Nah,
first. Aye.
the clubs in there have got loads of money. Eh? Like it saves them building a separate one.
Mm.
Um, right, where were we? We had that was Dave Granule. So Jamie said, "Great day out yesterday. Proper party atmosphere and a Hunt statement to top it all off. It is brilliant when you get a statement for them post game. Like
Mm.
I noticed they'd sacked or no carried on his employment. Barry Ferguson. Um,
He'll get his
and
ambassador role back. He'll
aye,
be back in the hospitality walking about with his, by the way, blazer and a jumper on a day like that.
mental, mental.
Came on, I was thinking, and I thought, oh, maybe he's doing it as like kind of I've been wearing the same watch and not reading the email since fucking November. Um, but then I thought he's hardly won any fucking games, so it can't be that.
So superstition thing. Maybe taking his way through them. And when he said his mind was blown, my mind was blown about
Mm.
the decision making. I was like, fucking hell, this is a guy that gets his mind blown when he sees somebody tying shoelaces.
Aye.
Um, Joe Capaldi said, "Hi guys, great time to be a Hibee. Roll on the Europa League draw, which is 18th of June." Rob Morris said, "Evening gents, epitome of a roller coaster season. Worst start since 19 Oatcake, followed by the best run ever. Still unbeaten on Easter Road. Under 18s and women teams dominating. A good time to be a Hibee." Green Tea said, "You're right, Colin. No media coverage of the Vermin's behaviour is sickening." Davey Granule said, "Loved seeing Aberdeen it. That was another belter as well. Like Saturday was a great day anyway. I mean, if Martin Boyle had tucked away his chance right at the death, it would have been perfect, I think. But the fact that you kind of come out of the grounds, you've got Rangers raging about something. We've equalised twice in the game to keep our unbeaten home record there, like or run going.
Mhm.
We've had sunshine on Leith, and then you come out and find out that Dundee United have beat Aberdeen and they finished
Mm.
fifth. It was tremendous. And then they're
I know.
chucking seats at the players and everything. Fucking lunatics.
Well, come on, they just chucked a seat and like well, I watched the sports scene highlights of it, and there was loads of bairns on the pitch. I know they said there was fans. Willie Miller was trying to blame the fans that went down to stand in front of the Aberdeen fans and that. There was loads of them just doing the exuberance thing, getting photos with their own players, celebrating. I didn't see anybody attacking an opposition player,
Mhm.
and they just lobbed a seat in the direction. And actually, when they zoom in on it, it looks like it glances off another boy, then smashes the boy in the
Aye, I
face.
think
Right?
it does.
And you think, do you know that like hit like I don't know a younger person and caught them flush, or even caught the guy flush? That's like serious. It was serious, but
Aye,
like or serious injury, like knocked them out style stuff.
aye.
Because of the way, if that's done the damage to him, it did after a glancing blow. You think, what the fuck would that have done if that had caught you flush on top of the head or the side of the head? Fucking incredible.
You reckon what goes through
Absolutely
folks' heads
mental.
there? Like, they think
Nah,
it's all right to do
nuts.
things like that.
Mental.
Stevie said, us scoring that equaliser right after their goal that was a proper giggle, was right next to the Sevco fans in the stand. They truly are animals. We should refuse them any tickets in future. BD said, great season, but I think we should give them absolutely zero away allocation to those animals. And Jamie TV said, hopefully Rangers ban Hibs from Ibrox after the graffiti mock in the 66. Well, yeah, this is what about it again, Jamie, isn't it? Like, get your own house in order first.
Yeah.
And we absolutely condemn that as well, by the way. Like, there's no place for it. Like, it's fucking abhorrent
Hmm.
mocking the Ibrox disaster. Like, there's no room for that at all.
But that's the difference. We're willing to do that and
Aye,
say that because we don't agree with that and we know it's wrong. We're willing to accept that we're wrong as well.
aye.
And when I say we, not us, because we wouldn't fucking do it.
I know we wouldn't
Our
do it.
minority would have done that.
Yeah,
So, but we don't then point the finger somewhere else without blaming our own first.
aye. And
Get
it's
your
a
own house
fucking
in
tiny
order.
minority as well that did it as well, which has to be said as well. I mean, talking about a handful of people. Um, Stevie said Everton renamed their new ground, the Hill Dickinson ground. What the fuck is that all about? Um, and Green Tea said they got big bucks for the rename. Also, not Hibs content, but is it not shocking that Hearts sack Fox? I saw that he left him. We had a wee chat about that, Colin, didn't we?
Mm.
About Liam Fox. I think he was close to joining the club in 2021 when Jack Ross was here, and it never quite happened.
Mhm.
David Gray wanted to get him onto the coaching staff, or was reported to want him on the coaching staff when he took over. Would you? How would you feel about a potential move for him now?
Well, just depending on what he's going to do and like what value he's going to add. He's obviously, I assume he's respected as a coach. It mustn't fit Dell's what Dell sees. So Dell's got him sacked before he started. Um, but I mean, he seems to be a respected coach, and David Gray obviously knows him. They must have been. I don't know if they had done the badges at the same time or something like that. That's how Jack Ross knows him and how David Gray knows him. If David Gray thinks it's the right thing to do, go for it. But
Aye.
I wouldn't want him just there just because he's the manager's mate. He would have to be bringing something. Um,
Um,
why not?
Aye, why not? Graham Caldwell said, St Mirren fan here. Well done on your third place finish. Thoroughly deserved after that 17 game unbeaten run. Really enjoyed the game on Wednesday night. All the best. Hope you do well in Europe. Thanks very much. And thank you for stopping Hearts getting into
I'm
the
actually,
top six as well. Like, I have a
and
right soft spot for St Mirren because there's a couple of their fans are good guys on Twitter.
I was going to say it's not 11 here, like, but I actually was hoping at one point they were going to get in the European place and Aberdeen and Dundee United would lose out.
Aye,
But then so it was almost like I wanted because I didn't really want Dundee United. I wanted St Mirren to get the European place above both of them, but they couldn't. So
aye. There was sort of like two funny scenarios. One of them would have been Dundee United
yeah.
dropping out of the European spots for St Mirren, and the other one was Aberdeen finishing fifth, but you couldn't get both of them. Danny said, give Rangers the smallest allocation possible after yesterday. Ridiculous behaviour from Ferguson at the Cannon throw in too. A wee bit of shit house race, so it was a free kick rather than a throw in that we had, and
Mhm.
Ferguson wouldn't move it away for Cadden to take a run at
Yeah.
it. And I think the referee should, it doesn't have to move, but that's unsporting behaviour. That should be a caution.
It is.
The
Yeah.
referee should just come out, just fucking nip it in the bud, yellow card straight away,
Yeah.
and that's it. But it just fucking shows you the levels of Rangers, isn't it? No
Hmm.
class about them whatsoever in anything that they do. Um, Hibs said Rangers fans singing Hibs are falling apart was bizarre. This was another highlight Saturday as well. You're, I think, 3 or 4 minutes in. I think they scored after 2 minutes.
That's right.
They come out with Hibs are falling apart. They lead twice and don't win the game. I
Mm.
mean, and I've said it before. Rangers of all clubs
Self-awareness
can
is
sing
a
about a
gift.
team falling apart. I mean, you literally killed your club. Like your club
Mhm.
died. I mean, you can't fall apart more than absolute fucking obliteration.
Yeah.
So, yeah, try harder. Danny said, "What a week, though! Great season and great time to be a high base." Stevie said, I agree. Oh, this is what happens. I'm into the conversations now. We're early into the
Mm.
conversations on the chat, so I'm going to skip this one for Stevie. El Kerr said, "Evening, lads. Great game yesterday. Easily the best part of the game was the 18s giving it large to their hands at half time. Horrible them chucking stuff at young lads. I always get like, how do you get so annoyed about nonsense like that that you think you've got to throw things at people? Okay, you were there talking about
Mm.
chucking a seat at the Aberdeen game, but what goes through your head? You go like, oh, I can't take it. I'm that wound up about this situation. I'm going to launch something at somebody. I mean, grow up,
Babies. Babies. That's
babies.
what how Roy Keane would say.
Aye, absolute babies. Ronnie says, reckon Naismith and Fox will be at Kelly. That's probably quite a good shout. I wouldn't be
Mm.
surprised to see that. Chris said, Leith was absolutely superb yesterday. Great atmosphere around the place. Jeremiah's was lovely before and after the game. And Stevie said most teams hate a certain referee that they don't like. I think Nick Walsh is hated by all. I hear he's been suspended. I haven't heard anything about him being suspended, but I thought he gave um, Rangers every small decision, like every 50-50 decision yesterday went their way.
Mhm.
And it's hard to say, right, when you look at the big moment in the match, right, that's caused all the controversy, it's hard to say,
Yeah.
fucking the referee did everything they can to let Rangers win, because they could easily just went, that's a goal.
Aye.
And nobody would argue. The VAR would have looked at it and went, well, we can't tell
Any
one way or
interest
the
in it?
other, so we
Yeah.
go with the on-field decision. So it's hard to say that that was the case. But when you're in it, it was like every 50-50,
Yeah.
he would talk to or book Hibs players quicker,
It's
and
one
he
of
let
those
them.
ones, eh? Like
Aye,
we've mentioned a few times when that years ago, that Falkirk game that we always refer back to, where when I went to work on the Monday with my boss and Falkirk fan, and he says, "What did the referee do wrong?" Like, and I went, well, there was a fucking throw-in right in front of me, and he
it's as
was
petty as fuck.
starting with fucking throw-ins. Like, but that's what happens. It's that accumulation that winds you up, eh? Like, yeah.
Aye. One of the things I wanted to flag was, no pun intended, was the application of offside rule. Right.
Mhm.
Um, so there's a couple of bones of contention with offside rule. One is the keep the flag down and let the play carry on,
Yeah.
even if the player's offside, and then bring it back if you have to. Now that hit the headlines this week because the boy got injured sliding into a post. I would say, okay, if you can't, it was that obviously offside. What you doing sliding into the post? Just fucking leave it.
Aye.
But you have a bit of responsibility, but complete the whistle and all the rest of it. I'm in favour of that rule because we've seen loads and loads and loads of instances where the linesman's flagged for offside and then they've checked it and they were
Just
onside.
in your
And
game. Just
aye,
in your
just just
games.
just in our games, never mind other teams, just in our games.
No.
So, and I would rather we've not had anybody injured when we play on. So, and it's a fucking tiny percentage of the times
Mhm.
that somebody gets hurt doing that. But you run the risk of getting hurt every time you go into the football pitch. Like players get injured warming up.
Mhm.
Can they get a ball to the face? Like, and goalkeepers dive into the posts and
Or
that.
a
You just
chair sometimes.
sometimes chairs get thrown on. So I get that, but the other one is just like where a player's no offside until they become active
Mhm.
in the application. That so Rangers got a corner yesterday. I can't remember the player who was standing in an offside position, but basically the ball's played over the top, and because that player's there, Iredale has to clear the ball.
Mhm.
So he clears the ball, knocks it out for a corner. It should be for me. The offside flag should go up here and say, "Well, that boy is there. He's offside, and that's by Iredale's headed the ball out." He wasn't close enough to challenge for the ball or anything like that. He was just there in an offside position. But rather than us getting the free kick, Rangers get the corner.
Mhm.
And you go, well, that doesn't seem fair because we've only conceded that corner because their player's been offside. Um, and and then so there's that which is stupid. So I think they need to look at that aspect and say, well, if a player is offside and is impacted what the defending team's done, that needs to get flagged. And the other one is where they keep the flag down and then the defending team gets a counter attack
Mhm.
and they put the flag up and then they stop the play. Because that
Yeah.
happened to us yesterday as well, and we were in a great position. You're going, we don't want a fucking free kick for offside here. We're halfway up the pitch on the way to get an attack. So I think they need to look at that as well, and maybe just kind of referees use a bit of discretion on it and say, well, if it's going to stop the defending team getting a counter attack, then bring it back for the free kick. Just let them play advantage.
Mhm.
Anyway, that was just my tuppence on that. Green Tea's flag where there was a foul for us, and Walsh automatically raised the arm to the hands and then realised he was giving it to us. So I think this one, I think what happened here was he actually blew his whistle by mistake. His whistle was in his mouth, and
Aye.
he went to gesture to play on, and then he blew the whistle, and then he was like, "What did I do?" And then he was like, "Free kick Hibs."
Aye.
But then to put it right, as soon as we took the free kick, he blew for a free kick to Rangers. Like it was one of
Mhm.
those ones where it was just like,
Aye. When you
"Fucking,
know it's coming.
well,
Aye. Like, it's
I
like when they
made
go
I made an
pull,
arse of that, so I'll
when
fix it."
there's two of them in the box having a bit of jersey pulling, and you go, "This is a defensive free kick." Next
Aye.
time the ball comes in, yeah.
Um, Right, Gilkey Hibs say congratulations to the Hibs under-18s women's team in our first team in an amazing season. Yeah, absolutely. And LKR said 3 Hibs teams in Europe next season as well. Club's in such a brilliant place at the moment. Feel good factor is certainly back. That was the overriding feeling yesterday. I thought was like that feel good factor. I mean, Easter Road was absolutely buzzing yesterday. Even when we went behind, there was like a wee bit of frustration. But they got right, but everyone got right behind the team, stayed behind the team the whole way, and the team sort of responded to it and fought right to the very end. It was absolutely brilliant. John said the only thing that should be thrown by fans at games is insults and petty banter, and shapes as well. If you want to like snazz up your goal celebrations.
There isn't enough of the insults though anymore. Like
Nah, we've talked about this.
at the
If
opposition.
yeah,
Aye, it's,
folk criticise their own players more than the hammer their
mm.
opponents. I never understand it. Stevie said, interesting to know what the fans think we need to do to kick on next season. Obviously, numbers through the door would help. Anyone have any particular signings we should be going for? So that's a good question, Colin. What do we need to do to kick on for next season?
We'll probably need to decide who's staying, or get them to decide who's staying in the first place, so we know what the baseline is, and then what we need to fill in. But we can assume the guys on loan are leaving, so we can start filling. We need to fill those spaces. I mean, McGrath's obviously signed already. We signed anybody else? Yeah, no, that was the only one, eh?
Aye, that's so yeah, and
Manneh,
just renewals then after that. Yeah, Manneh
yeah,
was brought in
Manneh we've
January.
probably not thought about much because he's been played two and a half, well, two, 3 times now. That's his third appearance. So we're going to need strikers, right? We know one's on loan, one's retiring, so we could probably start with that.
Yeah, I think we're in a good position in that we're not needing to overhaul. Like we talked about it, that you've got maybe like 6 or 7 players that are definitely going or likely to go. So replacing them or some of them, you might not even have to replace them all. But I think when you have like that sort of a finite budget, being able to spend more of it on a couple of players of really good quality will make a far bigger impact than having to stretch it across 10 players or 11 players as we've
Yeah,
had to do in
yeah.
previous windows. And I think that's really what. I mean, I had a look at the Aberdeen game yesterday. And I thought McGrath looked brilliant. Like I think
Hit the
he looks,
crossbar. Aye.
he looks a really good player, and I'm delighted to see him coming to us next season. John Hart said, baffled as to how Ferguson can claim he was certain it was over the line from his position on the halfway line. Aye, well, here do we have the wee screen that they can look at me.
Aye,
Ferguson, he said, I saw it
that's not what he
immediately.
said.
Aye,
Aye.
exactly. That's what I was going to say. Aye, they make it up the way. I mean, he just has a rant about something, and
Well, if that had been a studs up tackle, he would have said, "I've not seen it back." That's what he would have
aye,
said. Even though he's admitted he's got the iPad or the wee screen to go and watch it
aye.
on.
The we were talking about this before we came on. Actually, been talking about it on Twitter a lot. There is an irony here that we've benefited again from the made-up rule that they came out to say it's not enough to use your eyes to see if the ball's going over the line.
Yeah.
When Celtic had the goal disallowed, and they gaslit us to say, "Oh no, you can't
Well,
see."
you know what, right? If that we felt we were being gaslit at the time, right? Because the ball looked clearly over the line. It was the same with the handball and the 1980 came straight after that. But on the back of, which is happening again here, just the other half, because they're the same fucking people doing, the same type of person, I should say. They're going on and on and on and on and on about it. And what's happened is the last time they sacked a guy and they changed the rule.
Mhm.
So they do it this time that they'll have to sack the guy for not giving the decision, which is the opposite of what happened the last time,
Aye.
and change the rule back. So which one was right? Which one's right? Because against Celtic, it's out of play, and they gave it, and they said why in the fucking VAR TV show. So everybody went, well, that's fine. But it's not conclusive. It's not conclusive. Yesterday is the exact fucking same. And because the referee or the linesman didn't give it, they can't ask VAR to overturn it.
No.
Because that's what Willie Collum, who's in charge of them, fucking said. Right? So that's his rule. Collum's law, whatever you want to call it. That's it. He's made the rules. He's fucking made
Do
his
you
bed lie.
do you want to have a bet on what he'll say? I bet he would tell us that you can see clearly that the ball's gone over the line, and he would have expected VAR to have
Overturn it.
to
But
overturn
but
it. I bet you that.
his staff must be going, fuck am I meant to do?
Aye. Is it because they're shit scared to call it out now? It's like you've basically, but when he threw the VAR under the bus
And
that
sack them.
day,
Fucking sack
aye,
them. So the rest of them will all be shit scared to make a decision
aye,
now.
he basically meant you can't now decide using the
Mm.
telly if the ball's in or out.
Basically, first decision, first on your fucking flow chart, first decision, is it for Celtic or Rangers? Who's benefiting? Is it the opposition or is it them? That's your fucking yes, no flow chart. Follow that path.
Aye,
It's fucking ridiculous. They're the only two going on and on about it, and it's to get their own way. It's like a fucking toddler having a tantrum every
aye,
time a decision goes against them. Or, well, I can say against them. There was no conclusive evidence of the balls across the line. You can draw as many lines on it as you want, and we drew a shite one on ours.
aye.
They're
for
sort of
fun.
the fucking same. There's a boy's fucking tweeted this earlier with a line on the other
Just
side of the goal line.
just an arbitrary line, eh? It's just like fucking that's how I proved it. It's
You're like,
fucking
what are you proving here? I don't care what you're proving.
fucking nonsense.
But
Um,
it's come out right. Like, and we've not even fucking spoke. They're normal. We've just went over the shop the other day. But that that there is like, we knew that would come back and bite somebody on the arse at some point,
100%, yeah.
right? Because we knew that they were wrong when they changed the rule. And I'm fucking delighted. If it wasn't Celtic, I'm delighted it was them because that's
Mhm.
what gets the most noise about it. Because nobody else, it just gets. You know what? It might have happened in another game already. We don't know because everybody just fucking sucks at having its own mate.
Aye, that's the thing to do. Just get on with it. Gilkey have said, I hope Black Knights loosen the purse strings to sign quality, what with our European campaign on the horizon, and surely it'll be in their best interest to do so. It'd be interesting to see what happens here because I think, particularly if Celtic win the cup and we know we're going to get group stage football, because that the European aspect of it was the big selling point for Black Knights to get involved with Hibs. So
Mm.
I guess we'll watch this space with it. The other thing, Colin, that should be mentioned was Raskin pushing Rocky into the net
Yeah,
as well, rather than letting him clear the ball. Which
yeah.
it would have been interesting to see what happens. Obviously, we go up the pitch and score a cracking goal as well, by the way, which gets lost in all this too because it's a
Mhm.
great ball through to Boyle, who plays the offside trap fantastically. His cutback's perfect and a great finish for Bowie. Nobody's talking about how good that goal is because they're all talking about what happened at the
Aye.
other end. But can you imagine what's gone through the referee and the VAR's heads when they've
I
gone,
can't wait to hear it.
"Oh, what the fuck did we do here?" Like, and we kind of we're messaging each other about it earlier. You wonder if they have like sort of like unspoken. See if this happens. We can't say it when we're recorded because there'll be a fucking uproar. But seeing a situation like that, just do the fucking easiest thing. Like, could take just do that and we'll pretend. Well, we can't tell if that's going in or no.
The easiest thing is to just give the goal.
To them,
hmm
aye. But I
Because the
think
noise, look at the noise. They'll be cowering behind their sofas with the blinds shut now.
aye. But I suppose there's a more immediate physical threat to them. If
Mm.
can you imagine if they'd
Aye.
gone, we've done a VAR check, we're not getting Hibs a goal, we're going to give Rangers a goal instead.
Yeah.
I mean that is definitely a folk running on the pitch to punch the referee scenario, isn't it?
Aye, but I mean the thing is, you're right because as well as that though, right? If you take it, so their goal in inverted commas, um, looks like it's crossed the line, but as I say, the rule says
Inconclusive.
100%
Yeah.
conclusive. You need to be, um, so we can't be 100% because that's just well Willie Collins rule, right? So that's that. Um, if they do VAR it and they go, we can't tell, or they go the VAR and say it is over the line, right?
Hmm.
Then they would have to look at the free kick. They wouldn't have looked at the free kick if it hadn't been if it's not a goal, right? So then they look at it and they go, the two of them are maybe holding hands or pulling jerseys or whatever they're on the way in. But then there's a clear two-handed push
Hmm.
on Rocky, and why he's no managed to clear the ball or did manage to clear like why didn't they manage to clear the ball as easily as he might have?
Aye.
But they maybe not got the goal at the other end
Yeah.
because we would have just had a free kick. We wouldn't have got the, you know what I mean? If that had been that,
Let's
so
say we
if
played advantage.
they
Fuck knows. Mental. I reckon that's about as much as
too
behind the
complicated.
decision as possible. Just going fuck knows, just get Hibs a goal and get on with it. EH Hibs said, hope Hibs have awareness to understanding what happened with Hearts. I love this group of players, but we need to aim to improve in multiple departments, even if it means current fan
I
favourites
agree.
get dropped.
I agree.
Aye,
And I was actually saying this to somebody earlier on, right? That it's like, we kind of like the talk. I've seen a lot of folk on Twitter, the message boards, and that talking about, for example, and I'm not just picking on him, when he's your number one goalie, and he is. He's been good, right? Made a
yeah.
mistake yesterday, but he
He
made a
was
couple of mistakes
brilliant
recently.
after
He's
that as
made
well.
some really good
Aye,
saves, right? So he's recovering from mistakes and all that, which is what we want. Not going in his shell. Great. We just need a number two goalie. Uh-huh. Every signing we make should be on the premise that we think they're better than what we've already got.
100%. Yeah.
Whether they turn out to be on the bench and no being better than them, but we should be signing players that we think are better than what we've got.
Mhm.
We're in a position now, more or less, where we've not got the mass turnovers. We've not got again 15 out and 11 in or anything mad like that, right? We're a smaller turnover. The loan deal's going away and replacing them. Everybody we sign should be aiming. We should be aiming to be signed better than the goalie. We should be aiming to sign better than Martin Boyle. We should be aiming to sign better than Kieran Bowie. And if that means they're on the bench, that means they're on the fucking bench.
Mhm.
it's up to them to be better. And then if they're
Aye,
better, then the new signings on the bench. That's how it's meant to work, and that's how we get better, incrementally better. You didn't just go and say, we need a sub striker, we need a fourth choice striker. No, we need a fucking striker.
aye. 100%. That's it. You always have to look to improve on what you have, and it's almost taking that emotion out of it. And I guess like, the point is about EH Hibs love this group of players, and I think everybody's got this bond with that the
Mm-hmm.
players. We can joke about it, folk talking about being disconnected and all the rest of it. You can definitely see a connection between, or a better connection between the team and the fans. But actually, I think you see the connection between the players within the team
Mm.
that you maybe haven't seen before. I mean, they look like a proper group. The trick is to bring people in that fit into that. It doesn't mean that you lose that
Yeah.
because you change it. You just need to be really careful and selective with your
But now,
recruitment.
because you've got a basis there though, like of players like Boyle and McAdams um, and even Rocky if he's still here. You know, all these guys that have
Yep.
been here a while that know what it's about. Joe Newell, that they'll bring these new ones in and tell them what it's about and what we're trying to do and show them, look, do that, beat Hearts, look Lambs,
Yeah.
look, qualify for third place, look at the crowds, look at the atmosphere, look at that's what they'll be telling them, and that brings that. When you've got 15 out and 11, 12 in, that's ship's passed
You
in the
can
night.
never embed it, can you? It's never
No,
going to happen. You're spot on. Stevie said, "What's folks' views on Manneh yesterday? He showed a couple of glimpses as a player in there. However, I thought he was a passenger in the first 20 to 25 minutes,
mm,
which is understandable. I think I think that's a fair observation. I mean, pasture's maybe a wee bit harsh, but what it looked like in the first 20 to 25 minutes was a player that wasn't used to the pace of the play. I mean, Rangers came out the blocks flying, and obviously they got the goal in the first 2 minutes. They were very aggressive in their press and the speed at which they played. Actually, quite impressed with them on that side of things. I thought Manneh was a wee bit caught out by it. But as the game went on, he grew in it. I thought he had a really good game, and actually, I thought by the time he was taken off, he was one of the best players that we had on the pitch. It was very encouraging for next season if that's the level
mm,
that we're going to be getting from him. One block, I think, just actually led up to I think the corner for Rangers' second goal. But the
aye,
fact he was in there, kind of making that block as well, was
yeah,
almost the sort of block you'd expect to see for one of the players that you were just talking about, kind of like that
mhm,
kind of bought right into it and
yeah,
all the rest of it, which again is an encouraging sign. El Kerr said, "Have you lot heard the Rangers TV commentary calling it corrupt?"
aye,
John
yeah,
Brown, wasn't it, that
it
said it,
was,
Bomber?
yeah. He'll get in bother
They,
for that. Like, yes,
you
but he
can't say
should.
that.
Because I'm sure
Aye,
Tom Boyd did for Celtic when he done it.
I
Um,
think so. Well,
I'm sure they get in trouble for that. So
aye.
I never listen to it. Keep him on it. Like it's fucking good comedy value. I don't want him banned for doing the commentary. They end up with
Yeah.
Kevin Thompson doing it or something.
Aye.
It's not as good. Get Bomber on talking shite.
Ian said, think Manny grew in confidence. John said Manny looked pretty decent, by the way. His passing and off the ball stuff looked impressive, and he never gets sent off, which was nice. Uh, Jem Swan said, love the bands this season for you, pair. Have been one of the best seasons I can remember from the SPFL. Looking forward to next season, which is not a familiar feeling, being a high B. Stevie said Manny looked very composed in possession. Ian said passed it quickly, no dwelling on the ball and sharp. And Chris said I thought he played pretty well, all things considered. And Random Videos said Manny was class yesterday. Ronnie said, hope we as the fans respond to this season by giving the club record season ticket numbers for next season and bring on the 150 in style. I mean, it is getting the 150th anniversary off to a great start, isn't it? Like finishing the season the way we did with the women's team winning, the under 18s winning, us getting third.
It's proper decent, eh? Like
Aye,
real sort of celebration, eh?
and
Oh,
I
in
think
Europe and all that as well, like you say.
aye, I think Hibs played it perfectly yesterday. Where like they had the fireworks and the sunshine on Leith, they made it a proper event. The block seven pushing the wear green, so block seven were in green. Now, there were a few
Mm.
in black, but by and large they were in green. The stadium looked great. That is exactly the sort of kind of folk joke about the match day experience, and can they put inverted commas and almost sneer at it. That's the match day experience that you would go fucking every day, inject it into my veins. Kind of one of those. It was
Yeah,
brilliant, and you will have folk going away from there that aren't the season ticket holders that will be gone. kind of what I would happily buy a season ticket for next season.
Yeah.
And I totally agree with Ronnie. I hope folk go and put your hand in your pocket, go and get a season ticket, back the team. All that money goes towards better players, a better team, makes us stronger. The atmosphere's better when the stadium's fuller as well. So like it just it's that upward spiral. I mean, nobody talked about that, upward
Yeah.
spiral. That's it. So that's a great shout, Ronnie. Joe said, I wonder if yesterday was the last time we'll see Rocky and Triantis in a Hibs shirt. What do you think, Colin?
Um, didn't he really think? Did you get vibes that there was a Rocky farewell? Like he wasn't diving
I
to
did
the big
not.
waves in that, was he? So I think he'll stay. I think Giannis will be away.
I think that's. I think the fact that there's reported interest from Germany for Triantis, I could see it. I know, and it might be a bit of mischief on his part, but Kev Bashiri on Twitter, who's
Mm.
Rocky's brother, had replied to Rocky's tweet saying it's time with a contract getting signed. I think Hibs and Rocky both tagged into it, so he's maybe putting a spoiler out there, but he might just be doing a bit of fishing at the same time. But it certainly gave me some encouragement. I'd love to see both of them stay, obviously, and but I think if I could pick one of the two, it probably would be Rocky that I would
I
pick.
mean, since January, you can't argue with the level of performance he's been
Aye,
putting
well, you look at his clearance on Saturday
on
off
the
the
goal
line,
line.
and he's been pushed in
The
the
boys
net. And
pushed him over. Aye, exactly.
he's still
Still got
managed to
it.
keep it out. You know, categorically. Um, Ian said the Baza meltdown was the same as Clement when Josh Campbell got a penalty. I said they had plenty of time to score more
That's
goals.
right.
They just kind of take a decision going against them, eh? Stevie
Lack of
said,
practice.
aye.
So,
It's funny, there is a school of thought amongst the Rangers fans that since Willie Collum took over from whoever it was before, I can't remember the name of the guy that
Campbell
done it
sounded,
before.
was it?
It was because the Celtic fans used to go on about him.
Aye.
But now the Rangers fans are absolutely sure that they didn't get any decisions anymore. And it's
Yeah.
totally rocked them.
Mental, eh? It's
Mhm.
absolutely mental. It's just that they get one against them now and again that they go fucking ballistic about,
Aye.
and they didn't see all the other ones that go for them.
Um, Stevie said, giving Gale man in the match was a nice touch. You can clearly see he's a proper gentleman. I follow
By the way,
Newcastle.
that ball he played for Boyle at
Boyle.
the end, is quality. He
Man,
should have done better there.
aye. If Boyle had scored that, right, so it would have
Mm.
been Boyle's 100, would have taken the roof off the stadium because kind of a 3-2 over Rangers with a late goal for Boyle. But imagine that being uh, your last involvement in your football
Yeah.
career. It's just teeing up a
Still
winner
playing
like
that
that.
level, eh? And
Aye.
retiring, you know.
Uh, I thought it was brilliant that he got man of the match. Came over laughing about it. He's come on the sub, and he was laughing about it as well. It's like
Aye.
kind of managed that, but um, obviously the sponsors picking. I thought it was a really nice touch, and I thought it was a really nice touch with Hibs doing the guard of honour for him coming out and
Yeah.
leading the lap of honour as well. Um, Ronnie said, "I hope not, Joe. Some fans seem to think Rocky could be a goer." Uh, Stevie says Rocky is a tricky one. Chance for me has now done all he can at Hibs and will be priced out of a move to Hibs regardless if Sunderland want him or not. Ian said I expect Rocky to sign on again. Green Tea said my thoughts re Rocky is that if he was staying, he'd have signed. That's probably a good point as well. To be fair, John McGlynn said I wonder if Rocky was stalling to see if we'd get into Europe, which is again another line of thinking. But I think it's been clear we were going to get into Europe
Yeah.
before, but he's maybe thinking what stage. I think the group stage football changes it. Like I think
That's
the
proper
couple of
Europe.
playoffs, you're not really that asked. I think you're going to sell a move to Hibs
No,
on a
and
on a playoff.
especially if it like depends obviously what happens next week. But the the European games we've had over the years in recent times, they're that early in the season.
Mhm.
You're still, it's almost like an extension of pre-season, some of them. Whereas this is proper. Like if assuming Celtic win the cup, you're guaranteed to be through to early mid-December. I think the last
Yeah,
game is.
it is because I'm sure it's Christmas time. Um, Ronnie said I don't know why, but I don't think it's a certainty that Ellie will leave. I think like it's not going to be easy for Ellie to find the club. Like he's not going to have folk
The level he would want.
aye
Yeah.
climbing over themselves to sign him, given how little football he's played
Mhm.
this season. I thought it was interesting he was on the bench, but I also thought like if he was definitely going to go, he might have got the last 5 minutes just as a chance to say
Yeah.
Chino, I mean, Boyle was fucking knackered by the end of the game, like absolutely out on his feet, and it would have been easy to chuck Yuan on. I think to go and sort of say he's Chinos, and that didn't happen. So I don't know, Ronnie. There might be something in that. Green Tea said, "Hit the like button, guys. Yes, please do hit the like button." Um, Rob said, "Best thing about getting third place is skipping the potential pitfall of the wee league stage of the League Cup." That's going to be massive when that's starting next season and we're not involved in it. It's going to be a nice feeling, to not have to think.
Aye. Aye. You
Aye,
could just watch the results coming in and hopefully
aye,
laugh at some of
somebody
the
else.
unfortunates.
John McGlynn said, "So many things I love about Sir David Gray, but his class is up there. We've had some honking decisions our way, and you've never heard him moan and spit the dummy out, unlike most of the managers in the league. He is like anything that's gone against us this season. Gray's just taken it in his stride. He's no made a
Yeah.
song and dance about it. He's
Yeah.
been totally dignified, which is
Just like a normal human being.
aye. Ian said spot on calling about competition for places. Stevie said Boyler's Van Persie attempt yesterday. So
Mm.
two things about that: the ball for Nicky Cadden,
Yeah.
unreal. And Boyle's volley, I think if he'd hit that on target, he would almost have had to wound back the goal of the season and said, "Sorry, Jack, you're going to have to
Aye.
hand that over."
Yeah.
It would have
Oh,
been unreal.
it would have been. It was. I was thinking. Oh, aye, that's right. That was a Van Persie one. I was thinking a Bergkamp, but that was he cut back, didn't he, in the World Cup? There was a
Aye.
diagonal like that, but he cut back and aye. Yeah, that would have been a peach, but wasn't
Uh, no, it wasn't. He missed the target. Wasn't unlucky. Poor quality, Martin.
he? Didn't even save it.
Didn't even force a save. It would have been an absolute worldie if it had come off. Chris said was a wee bit tipsy. However, there was a ball from Levitt and he absolutely pinged it about 50 yards straight to Cadden. It was just before the second goal. I'm sure I remember that one. Levitt was brilliant when he came on again. Like it's he's found a level, Levitt,
Yeah.
and I'm really excited to see him in the team next season. And again, this goes back to what you're saying, Colin, about strengthening because we spoke about it before about where does Joe Newell come into the team, but
Mm.
um,
Well,
I'd be
Trent has
quite
got
happy.
to be aye.
Travis isn't it? But you've got McGrath to come in. You've got I don't know what's going to happen
Manneh.
with Oil. He might stay, but Manneh, Newell, and Levitt and
Mm.
Mariah Welsh was good when he came on yesterday as well. I thought we started the second half really poorly, and
Mm.
I think I actually put in the group chat we've been shit this half just before we got the goal.
Yeah.
It was like on purpose, when you go for the reverse jinx, it was one of those. Like I'm gonna say it, and then I'll obviously turn things around. But I thought the introduction of Mariah Welsh and Levitt swung the game back in our favour. And I think Mariah Welsh is a player that folk have, or maybe assuming will go. But I think he's a young player. I'd be quite happy for him to stay and fight for a first team place. I really like him.
It's about the same age
Um,
as Levitt, isn't he?
mhm.
So
Hibs said Naden has the best delivery of a ball since Satelli, just sensational. And that cross he put in for the equaliser, fucking unreal,
it's
wasn't
amazing, isn't it? It's just he picks folk out like so well. I was listening to I think it was Gary Neville's podcast. I don't know if you ever listen to it. I think it's quite good. I've got into it now. At first I thought they all talk over each other, but
it? Mhm.
I think it's because they're on YouTube and they're having a conversation. Anyway, right. The he was talking about how like Beckham would run and pick somebody out. But Gary Neville was like, I was all shitey at crossing. And they were like, oh, but I done, what he done was somebody, I can't remember who it was, I think it was Steve McLaren just said to him, just put it in an area
Mhm.
and the striker will do the work to make it look good. Whereas Beckham would pick somebody out, and that's what Nadden does. He's actually, because how many goals is he? Just the strikers don't even want to do anything, like
Aye. Like
other
he
than
put
let
it
hit
right
him.
on, aye, put it right on Gale's head the other week.
Aye,
I mean, Gale's just had to nod it in, and
aye. I mean, even Bowie's one, that was a diving header. That was the best. That was most a striker had to work. But even then, it's like he's not just putting balls in an area. His brother puts balls in an area.
aye,
He puts it on somebody's fucking head.
uh, because the cross was so good, folk will underestimate how good Boyle's header was as well. It was the leap
Aye.
and everything, timed the
Yeah,
leap perfectly, and
yeah.
an absolute bullet header.
But it must be
Uh,
brilliant for these boys in there,
oh, aye.
like when he comes on, like get myself in some space and it's coming to me. Like,
Joe says, Chris, totally agree. Levitt's 50-yard pass was sensational. Hibs must extend his contract. Jim said, I like Newell, but don't see where he fits in. Ronnie says, Joe, are you Levitt's agent? I don't think there's any connection there, Ronnie. Stevie said if we can keep Rocky, the spine of our team next year is the base for us to build on. Smith, Rocky, McGrath, and Bowie will all be standout players. Honestly, though, Bowie is going to be a monster next year. And Vince said, great to see Colin bigging up the Rock. Knew he'd join us eventually.
I'm not bigging him up. Just saying he's been good.
He has
Right.
been.
Calm down, Vince.
Ian says Joe Capaldi's been spot on about Levitt all season. You called it, Joe. And AHFC said, what a time to support Hibernian considering where they were in November Football Club. Right, I've really even touched the. We've barely talked about the game, Colin, like in terms of breakdowns. I don't propose that we do that now. We'll go and pick up some of the talking points from Blue Sky, and then if we've got time, we'll get a couple of the Twitter ones as well. It's 5 time that 55 minutes is absolutely fucking flown by. It has for me. Don't know about you.
I know. At one point, I could about 25 minutes in. I thought, you've not even said what's your thoughts in the lineup.
Nah, I've never mentioned it. Do you think we would have if it was what like the biggest game of the season? Like one of these in inverted commas. You know, it was like a meaningless game. It was almost like you could sort of approach the podcast differently. Green Tea on Blue Sky said Rangers fans are the pits. The ref was awful. We played some nice football. Pity Boyle, I missed a couple, but it was a good game. Good to see so many fans staying, and nothing more can be said of sunshine on Leith. Jeff said a cracking game. I think 95% of the stadium were waiting for Boyle to get his 100th in the last minute. The most amazing season taken as a whole and not one cup final ever. Love this team. Is this the most amazing season for you, Colin?
It is in terms of the sort of position we were into, where we've turned out, and how, like for 6 months ago, people wanting everybody emptied, manager sacked, whole coaching staff sacked. Mind the goalkeeping coach stuff. Why is he telling folk stuff?
Aye, are we the worst coach
bin
side? Remember that question came in?
Yeah, bin the board, fucking banners upside down and all that in protest. To actually like, it's the most engaged, most amazing season, best team. Love all this team. Didn't let any of them go. Keep the re-sign them all in 6 months.
Aye, I've absolutely loved it. Like it has been tough. Like we moved in the podcast early in the season, and it was a slog.
It was therapy. It was therapy though.
Aye,
More than
because you're like some of them you're wondering how we've lost games or not won them. And there was a couple of performances where you're just like, this is just shite. Like it was so bad. And then it was that, like a switch went, and then all of a sudden, boom, it's just been like big game, big result after big game, big result for the team, and just it's like snowballed. And
Still room for improvement because we've
of
still
course,
like some of these away games that we've drawn a lot of away games and stuff, like, but we're capable of going and beating these teams. Like we do, we beat them at home comfortably. When we go
yeah,
away from home, we seem to. So there's stuff there to work on. Get better players in, couple of different players in, and change that setup
aye,
mentality, whatever it is, when we go to these hard places to go. Ross County, Kilmarnock, if Ross County are in the league, of course. St Johnstone, who aren't in the league, but whoever it is that comes up,
aye,
Livingston, it'll be
Falkirk,
say, aye,
Falkirk and
yep.
Livingston potentially. Neil said he also thought Manneh had a great game, calm on the ball, always available and always looking for a forward pass. Looking forward to seeing more of him next season. Jeff said couldn't have said it better, Neil. Polly said started really slow, but the response was great, which to be fair has been the ethos of this team for a wee while. However, the seethe and staunchness by wee Barry stopping Nicky Cadden taking the free kick and the interview afterwards was hilarious. Their fans again showing their class. Let's cut the tickets again. Muddy W said, entertaining game to finish one hell of a rollercoaster season. Manneh, very decent 60 minutes after a shaky start. Boyle, Rocky, and Smith, superb. Overall, good performance and lots of positives going into the next season. Gayle will be missed, but a brilliant send off for a great professional. This one come in for Chris, right? We really must credit our Ben Kensel. He really drove all levels of this club to success. So Ben obviously is he's just got a job at Luton, hasn't he? He's like a financial officer or
Revenue officer,
director, revenue officer,
new
something
role,
like
newly created. They said, so
that.
it didn't exist.
Do does he? Do you have to give him some credit for it? I mean, he'll have contributed something to it. Do you know? I don't think him still being here would have meant we wouldn't have finished third. Do you have a view on that?
Uh, when did they go? Christmas time. I mean, he's here
It was
halfway.
this year. I'm sure it was this year that when he went.
It's
It
hard,
was
it's
just
hard to
before
say.
the AGM.
He was on the non-footballing side. He obviously got a lot of the blame prior to that because he was both sides. But then they split that in June last year when they gave Malky the footballing operation, didn't they? So
Aye,
hard to say. It's hard to say without the ins and outs. Obviously, everybody kind of knew when they wanted everybody sacked because everybody was wanting them sacked. Everybody was wanting them all sacked.
aye, everybody.
Um, so I don't know. It's hard to say. Hard to say.
Aye.
I wouldn't want to not give him credit in case he's due some, but I don't know. I don't know.
I think it was a bit tongue in cheek for Chris anyway, to be fair.
It definitely is. It's a total fucking wind up.
Gulky said I'd be open to a few older players coming to Hibs that have played a lot in Europe but still have the engine to handle domestic or European games. Bring a good balance to the squad. Soze-esque, for example. Ian said should be better against Ross County, etc. I think the older head ones, I think we will look. I would be surprised if we didn't sign one or two.
Jamie Vardy or something like
Aye, in that sort of maybe not Vardy, but in that in that mould, like Dwight Gayle, like there's somebody that come in that's going to be a real good influence on the dressing room. Joe said before we get carried away, oh, not one of these ones, Joe. Come on. Before we get carried away, just remember Hibs only won one game out of five after the split. Aye, fair enough. John said totally okay. We've already seen how it helps the younger ones in the squad. Stevie said next season we have to win at Celtic Park, get to semi-finals in both cups, and not lose to the Scumbos again. Try finishing above Sevco, which are achievable goals. Ronnie said, when are we getting a new CEO? Bring Leanne back. So the new CEO is on garden leave. They're due to start imminently, I believe. So I think it's a watch this space for the CEO. Don't have information on who it is.
There's rumours kicking about,
Well, I rumours, but I wouldn't want to say the rumours in case it's
no.
all unverified. So, but I do know that they're working garden or they're on garden leave at the moment, ready to join. So, it should be soon. Stevie said, "I'd love to see Leanne come back as well." Right. We did have a question from Stevie a bit earlier that I'll come back to just now. It says, "Are you both doing podcasts through the summer, or is that it until August?" So, we always or have always kept the podcast going through the summer. Obviously, we won't have any preview shows to do because there's no games to preview. I'm not bothered doing previews for like pre-season friendlies or that. It's a fucking waste of time.
I didn't watch the pre-season games.
Colin doesn't watch. I try to go to them because I'm just desperate to get back to the football. But every time I go to them, I go, "Where fuck am I coming to this?" It's been a complete waste of time. They're always rank. But we'll not have the preview show. Phone in. I'll play by ear. Like I'll open the phone in on Thursdays. If folk want to come on and talk, we'll do them. If we do them and nobody turns up, so how the phone in works, I should explain this, right? I think I've explained it before, but it's worth repeating. We post the Zoom details on Patreon and on YouTube members, and in a couple other wee places to say here are the dial-in details. Phone in if you want to come on, and that's it. We don't invite anybody on specifically. We don't vet it, and whoever turns on is just whoever dials in. So every Thursday, 8 o'clock, I open up the call, and there's a risk that nobody turns up at all. Right, so that could happen, and we didn't have a show, or one or two, and we've had it before. We went with two, I think Joe and maybe Steve. No, I think it was Stephen, or maybe it was other John and Stephen. I think there was two turned up, and we did it, and it actually was a great show. And then there's other times, there's like anywhere between 6 and 10 folk turn up, and that's also good. So we'll open them up, and if folk want to come on and talk, then you're more than welcome. And if you're not a subscriber but you're a Hibs fan and you want to talk about it, then by all means get in touch with us, and we'll happily give you the details, and you can join in. Better if you're a subscriber though, because that's really who it was meant for. We'll have extra time every week for subscribers, so it'll only be subscribers that get that. But we will do something on a Sunday. We will be looking back at almost like a season review. So we'll have our predictions review. We'll go back over what we predicted, and then we will do like a month by month review of the season just gone by. Pick out all the sort of the highlights, the memorable moments, the highs and lows, all these kind of things to review what's been a great season. And I think that'll probably take us up into next year when the football starts again.
And there was talk about doing that. Mind with and people seem to like it because I had a few folk mention it to the guys at work and stuff that listen as well, and about a year like I don't know, 1992. what were Hibs like, but what was top of the charts, what was in the news, all that kind
Aye,
of shit.
the music,
They,
TV,
they,
and
they seem to go
news.
down well. We could do
Aye,
a couple of them. If people want to put years in that tell us years, bear in mind we are only young guys. Well, we've got a granda here and one that's no, but
aye,
one's younger than the other. But we could, aye, happy to do that for sort of 90s forward, eh?
aye.
Even mid 90s or something. I don't know.
Davey said summer short bangers. We might do a short bangers in this. We've done short bangers for a couple of years, but we need questions and that for it, so we'll play that by ear as well. Greenty said fans got to go to the Rock Vice Essen game. It's historical. Yeah, definitely we'll be going to that one. To be fair,
I'm away.
um, it's not about you,
I'm on
Colin.
holiday. I'm on
Aye,
holiday. I'm not going.
everybody, I'll be there. Um, Stevie said Matt and Colin are Hibs, Jack and Victor, always turning out quality podcasts, which is what I think Jack and Victor were famous for. Um, and Joe says, really good podcast, guys. Thanks. And David says, yeah, the year that was. Yeah. So if you want us to cover a year or a team, you're like we talked about that in extra time, sort of comparing previous Hibs teams with this one. If there's a particular team you'd like us to talk about, then of course we'll do that as well over the summer. We're open to suggestion. Anyway, we are out of time for tonight, so sorry we never got to any of the Twitter talking points, but I think we
And we should
covered.
say, John's coming back to do some of them.
Oh, John's now that all the hard work's been done.
Aye.
John's ready to come back. He's finished his uni stuff and that, so um, he'll be back for next week as well. So we're back to three of us. Right, that's us. Thanks for everybody for tuning in. John McGlinchey said, "Night bangers, love you too, John." We will see you all next time.